What's up everybody, I am Iamfutureidiot and welcome back to the desk where I speak to you guys about stuff which I think is important. And why I think it's important this week is Resident Evil as a series, actually, because we're getting have you noticed we're getting quite a lot of HD remasters and HD ports of like everything, essentially. Between 2015 and 16 we're going to have a HD remaster or a HD port of everything in the series, and I pose you a question of why. I mean, is it a cash grab, or is it we're really sorry for making Resident Evil 6 so bad, so here's all the games you did enjoy but better? Is it, or both maybe? What I actually wanted to know and talk about was, can Capcom still make a survival horror game? Because if you look at the evidence, ever since Resident Evil 4, it's all sort of taken a different path from the previous three titles. It went from more survival horror to like action horror, I guess, is the best way to put it. Resident Evil 4 for me, I have no problems with. I think it had enough atmosphere and suspense to make you feel scared about playing at certain areas, and certain things just made you, shudder. For me, Resident Evil 5 is where it started to go weird and horrible. I struggle, as you can tell by my trying to get my words out then, I struggle to rate Resident Evil 5 because whereas the story and the settings weren't overall scary and it was not actually that difficult as a game, the co-op was really good. And then 6 obviously was terrible, it was really bad. As a long-term Resident Evil fan, it was bad, it was just bad, So I think, where is Resident Evil 7 in all this? Well, shouldn't we have that by now? Maybe people have lost confidence in Capcom and being able to make a good survival horror game. Which is where I step in, ladies and gentlemen, because obviously, in my pyjamas, sitting at a desk on a Monday, recording a video for the Wednesday, Inception, I have the credentials to tell Capcom how to make a good survival horror game. I know this shit. Maybe. So, this week's video is not a rant and a bitch, oh my god, Resident Evil is so weird, oh my god. It's a step-by-step guide on how to make Resident Evil 7 not suck. And I click my fingers, and then the screen changes. Something like that. Right, pretty easy one to start off. Step 1, set it in a scary location. Don't set it in somewhere that's sunny, set it at dark, mysterious, completely out the way from civilization. Make it creepy. I think it has to be nighttime, personally. If you play in the day, it's not scary. Let me give you a good example. Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 5, let's say. Now, take a look at these pictures. Which one looks scary? I don't really need to answer that, really, do I? Now, Resident Evil 2. Let me give another example. How about Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 6? Now, again, look at the comparison. Resident Evil 1 looks 10 times more scary. I always said it at night, and I always said it somewhere really, really secluded.
Man, what a mess.
Now, here's a really good example of the earlier Resident Evil games giving you barely any ammo to play with at all. It's actually a really good way to create a good sense of horror and terror, is limiting the ammo, because it forces you into strategic ways to use that ammo. You can't just go around mowing down enemies and going from A to B. You have to really think about every single bullet, because as soon as you run out, it's scary. Having puzzles is amazing. Figuring them out is even better. It's something I really think has fallen out of favour of some of the recent Resident Evils. In the recent Resident Evils, they were simply just pushing a button. In the old ones, they were intricate, they made you think outside the box. They even had me writing stuff down on paper because I couldn't quite remember. They really need to come back because they're like a bread and butter for Resident Evil. They really changed up the dynamic, and they need to make a return, really.
What are you buying? What are you selling?
The merchant needs to come back. That is it. The merchant needs to come back. I love him so much. Oh, let me buy all your things. I love you so much. Look at all them things. Babe. Buying new guns is fun. Customizing new guns is fun. Selling treasures you found is fun. Please just bring the merchant back. It's the best thing about Resident Evil. I literally love him so much. Not only is he a total babe, but it does actually add to the strategy, because obviously you pick up money in Resident Evil 4's case, and it makes you think strategically about what you should be spending your money on. You can't just go and blow it on a load of shit. Do you go for firepower or reload speed? It's really strategic. Bring him back. I guess this is a personal preference for me. I like the slow-moving zombies. I think they're creepier. I think they're more suited to a game like Resident Evil. I think in the new ones where they can pick stuff up and throw stuff at you and communicate between each other, I think it's just fighting like usual people. It doesn't really make them zombies. And Resident Evil is famous for just bog standard Shaun of the Dead style zombies, and I think they need to make a comeback. Obviously in Leon's campaign in Resident Evil 6 you did have slow moving zombies, and Leon's campaign was the best out of everyone in Resident Evil 6, so maybe it's a personal preference, I don't know, but slow moving zombies are rad.
The Raccoon City Police Department's Special Stars Unit immediately began investigation.
I understand Raccoon City has been like a ongoing thing through the Resident Evil series, but can we please in every game stop mentioning Raccoon City? It's really annoying because it just seems to be oh, this was a good game, so let's mention that location over and over again. It would be like if Snake in Metal Gear, I'll give you an example.
Tell me a little more about Dead Cell.
Well, of course I could do that, but I could mention Shadow Moses because, Shadow Moses was cool and, everything, so fuck Dead Cell. Shadow Moses.
Snake, are you okay? I've been better.
How's Mara?
Let me just, think about that for one moment. Shadow Moses. I mean, maybe it's just a nitpick for me, but every time they mention it, it really sticks in my ear and I hear it a lot in every single game. Just please be quiet about Raccoon City. That's right, I think you should unlock co-op mode in Resident Evil games, because if you constantly have someone there by your side, it makes it not scary and not tense at all, because you always have someone there to help you if you struggle. I think you should play through the campaign once by yourself, and then after you've completed it, you should then be able to unlock co-op and then go through it like that. I think it's not scary having someone all by your side the whole time, because it's just not as scary. You should play it by yourself and shit yourself, then play with your friends.
Do something, cop! After you. Now.
I'll come clean when it comes to quick time events. I personally don't mind them that much in small quantities. Now, Resident Evil 4, as you can see here, they dabble with quick time events, which I can deal with because they're not very often, they're very occasional, and they can be fun. But Resident Evil 6, for example, they were literally littered everywhere, and it made the game not fun because you could not relax for a second because you'd have to always be on the controller. Now, the thing is, games like Until Dawn should have quick time events, I think, because Until Dawn is not like Resident Evil. Until Dawn is a slow story-driven game, so actually having quick time events in a game like that adds to it and makes it an overall better game, but littering them everywhere in an already kind of action-packed game makes them irritating, and it normally ends up resulting in death. So get rid of them, please. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching my step-by-step video on Resident Evil. If you'd like to leave me a like, that would be much appreciated, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys very soon.